Write an engaging and emotional story based on the title. A homeless boy brought a biker's daughter back to life. What happened next? Begin the story with hook who joins the viewers at the end. Immediately capture attention. Also motive viewers to like video and subscribe the channel. Develop the plot with emotional depth and relatable characters, including key challenges and their resolutions. Ensure the story maintains a smooth pace suitable for an 400-minute YouTube video, leaving a strong, inspiring message by the end. Plain paragraphs but long story as you can based on 3,000-word estimate. In the heart of a gritty industrial town where the roar of motorcycles drowned out the whispers of hope, a young girl named Lily lay motionless in a hospital bed, her life hanging by a thread. Machines beeped rhythmically, echoing the despair of her father, Jax, a burly biker with tattoos snaking up his arms like vines of regret. Lily had been in a coma for weeks after a tragic accident, a hit-and-run that left her broken and the world around her shattered. Doctors shook their heads, murmuring about miracles that never came. But on a stormy night, when the rain pounded the streets like angry fists, a homeless boy named Theo stumbled upon something that would change everything. He didn't know it yet, but his act of quiet courage would jolt the world awake. If this story touches your heart, hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of unexpected heroes, because sometimes, the most broken souls hold the key to healing others. Theo was only 15, with eyes that had seen too much for his years. Abandoned by his parents at a young age, he'd learned to survive on the scraps of society, dodging shadows in alleyways and finding shelter under bridges where the river's murmur lulled him to uneasy sleep. His clothes were rags, his stomach often empty, but his spirit flickered like a candle in the wind, stubborn, refusing to go out. That fateful night, as thunder cracked overhead, Theo was scavenging near the old warehouse district when he heard the screech of tires and a sickening thud. He froze, his heart pounding. Peering from behind a dumpster, he saw a motorcycle skid across the wet pavement, its rider, a tough-looking man with a leather jacket emblazoned with a skull, thrown clear, but the passenger, a girl about his age, lay crumpled like a discarded doll. Without thinking, Theo rushed forward. The biker, Jax, groaned in pain, clutching his leg, but his eyes widened in horror at his daughter. Lily. No, God, no, he bellowed, trying to crawl to her. Theo knelt beside the girl, his hands trembling. She wasn't breathing. Rain mixed with blood on her pale face. He'd seen enough street fights and overdoses to know the signs of death creeping in. But something inside him, a memory of his own mother's final breath, pushed him to act. He placed his small hands on her chest and began compressions, the way he'd once seen a paramedic do during an alleyway rescue. Come on, breathe. He whispered fiercely, pumping rhythmically as lightning illuminated the scene. Jax watched in stunned silence, too injured to intervene. Minutes felt like hours until sirens wailed in the distance. Paramedics arrived, taking over, shocking Lily's heart back into rhythm. Kid, you saved her, one of them said, clapping Theo on the back. But Theo slipped away into the shadows before anyone could ask his name, vanishing like a ghost. In the hospital, as Lily was rushed into surgery, Jax demanded answers. Who was that boy? He growled at the nurses. No one knew. Lily survived the night, but slipped into a coma, her body fighting internal injuries. Jax, bandaged and brooding, sat by her bed day after day, his biker gang, the Iron Wolves, rallying around him with growls of vengeance against the hit-and-run driver. But deep down, Jax felt a gnawing emptiness. His wife had died years ago in a similar crash, leaving him to raise Lily alone in a world of rough edges and roaring engines. He wasn't equipped for this fragility. Weeks passed, and Theo's life trudged on. He thought about the girl often, wondering if she'd made it. Hunger drove him to the hospital's dumpster one evening, rummaging for discarded food trays. That's when he overheard nurses talking about the biker's daughter in room 312, still no change. Curiosity pulled him inside, sneaking past security with the ease of someone used to being invisible. He found her room, dim and sterile, with Jax dozing in a chair. Theo approached the bed quietly, staring at Lily's peaceful face. She looked like an angel, her long hair fanned out on the pillow. Without knowing why, he reached out and took her hand. "Hey, if you're in there, fight back," he murmured. "The world's not all bad. There's still stuff worth seeing." At that moment, Lily's fingers twitched. Monitors spiked. Jax jolted awake, his eyes locking on Theo. You're the kid from the accident," he roared, grabbing Theo by the collar. Theo froze, expecting a beating. But Jax's grip softened as doctors rushed in. Lily's eyes fluttered open for the first time in weeks. "Daddy?" she whispered weakly. Tears streamed down Jax's rugged face. "My girl, you're back." The doctors called it a miracle. Perhaps the human touch, the voice of a stranger, had pulled her from the brink. But Jax knew it was more. This scruffy boy had brought his daughter back to life, not once, but twice. What happened next stunned everyone. Jax, a man who'd built his life on loyalty to his gang and distrust of outsiders, insisted Theo stay. "You saved her. Your family now," he said gruffly. Theo, wary and untrusting, tried to bolt, but Lily's soft voice stopped him. "Please, don't go. I want to know who you are." For the first time in years, Theo felt seen. Over the next days, as Lily recovered, a bond formed. Theo visited daily, sharing stories of his street life, how he'd learned to pick locks to escape foster homes, how he'd once nursed a stray dog back to health with nothing but willpower. Lily, confined to her bed, listened with wide eyes, her own world of biker rallies and schoolyard dreams seeming small in comparison. Jax watched, his heart thawing. He learned Theo had no home, no family, surviving on wits and occasional odd jobs. But challenges loomed. Jax's gang wasn't thrilled about adopting a street rat. Big Mike, the second in command, sneered, "He's trouble, Jax. Kids like that bring cops sniffing around." And Theo's past caught up. Social services got wind of the boy at the hospital and threatened to place him in a group home. Lily, growing stronger, pleaded with her father. "He saved me, Dad. We can't let him go back to nothing." Jax faced his own demons, his rough exterior hid a fear of vulnerability. Opening his home meant risking heartbreak again, like when he lost his wife. One night, after a heated argument with his gang, Jax found Theo sleeping on a bench outside the hospital. "Come on, kid," he said, offering a hand. "Let's get you some real food." They brought Theo home to Jax's modest garage apartment, surrounded by gleaming motorcycles. It was awkward at first. Theo flinched at loud noises, hoarded food under his bed, and woke screaming from nightmares of abandonment. Lily, still weak, became his anchor. They spent afternoons in the backyard, where she'd teach him to read better, her favorite books about adventures and second chances, while he showed her how to fix a bike chain with scavenged parts. "You're smart, Theo," she'd say. "Smarter than anyone I know." Their friendship deepened into something tender, a first crush blooming amid the chaos. But jealousy stirred in the gang's kids, who bullied Theo at school when he enrolled. Homeless freak, they'd taunt, shoving him in hallways. The biggest challenge came when the hit-and-run driver was caught, a rival gang member seeking revenge on Jax for an old turf war. The Iron Wolves demanded blood, urging Jax to lead a retaliation ride. "Eye for an eye," Big Mike insisted. Jax, torn, saw the cycle of violence that had nearly cost him Lily. Theo, overhearing, confronted him. "If you go, you'll lose her again. And me." It was the first time Theo admitted he cared. Lily, overhearing too, burst into tears. "Dad, please. Theo brought me back. Don't throw it away." Jax wrestled with his rage, pacing the garage until dawn. In the end, he chose peace, turning evidence over to the police instead of taking matters into his own hands. The gang splintered, some left, calling him soft, but others stayed, respecting his strength and restraint. As months turned to a year, resolutions unfolded like petals in spring. Theo officially became part of the family through adoption, his name changed to Theo Ramirez, Jax's last name. School became a battle he won, with Lily's encouragement, earning straight A's and discovering a passion for mechanics. Jax rebuilt his gang into something more, a community group helping at-risk kids, turning their clubhouse into a safe haven. Lily fully recovered, her scars a badge of survival, and she and Theo shared their first kiss under the stars during a family road trip on Jax's bike. But life wasn't without lingering shadows. Theo struggled with trust, sometimes withdrawing into silence. One winter night, during a blizzard, he confessed his deepest fear: "What if I mess up and you send me away?" Jax, sitting by the fire, pulled him into a bear hug. "Kid, you're stuck with us. Family doesn't quit." Lily added, "You brought me back to life, Theo. Now let us do the same for you." Their bond grew unbreakable, teaching them all about forgiveness and redemption. Years later, as Theo stood at his high school graduation, valedictorian with a scholarship to engineering school, he looked out at Jax and Lily in the crowd, Jax beaming like a proud father, Lily cheering wildly. In his speech, he said, "I was invisible once, lost in the streets. But one act of kindness sparked a chain that saved us all." Never underestimate the power of reaching out, it can bring someone back from the edge. The audience erupted in applause, many wiping tears. And so, in that once gritty town, a homeless boy didn't just save a biker's daughter, he revived a family, a community, and himself. The stunning twist? Love, in its rawest form, conquers even the darkest roads. If this story moved you, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because real miracles happen every day, and you won't want to miss the next one. What's your takeaway from Theo's journey? Share in the comments below.